Happy New Year's Eve, everyone! I'm Alexa, resident Ookie Spooky Girly, and I can't think of a better way to spend tonight than with all of y'all. So honestly, I'm a pretty chill person when it comes to my traditions. I try to stay up till midnight, text all my friends and family that I love them, and promptly crash from exhaustion. What about you? Let me know yours in the comments, and welcome to the top 5 evil New Year's Eve traditions historians fear. Number 5, the Ogano Mamahage Festival. So on New Year's Eve, groups of men dressed like Mamahages, I think I got that correctly, let me know in the comments if I got it wrong, terrifying demon-like or ogre-like creatures descend on the houses of little ones. They terrorize them into obeying their parents during the next year, warning them against laziness and naughtiness. The frightfully dressed men impersonating the Oni demons wear masks and are dressed in long straw coats or minno, locally called kidi or kende. They are armed with deba, stabby kitchen utensils that I can't say, and by that I mean fake ones, like wooden ones or possibly paper mache, and toting a tioke, which is a hand pail made of wood. And they march in pairs or threes going door to door, making rounds of people's homes, admonishing young people who may be guilty of laziness, yelling phrases like, "Are there any crybabies around? Are naughty little ones around?" in the pronunciation and accent of the local dialect. Now the Namahage's original purpose was to admonish laggards, who sit around the fire idly and do nothing useful. I wonder if I could bring that term back into popular vernacular around my friends. Laggard instead of just lazy butt? Food for thought. One of the refrains used by the Mamahage in the olden days was blisters peeled yet, a reference to a rash-like condition that was caused by overexposure to fire from sitting by the dugout Iori hearth. Ergo, fire rash peeling is generally believed to be the derivation of the name Mamahage. So some of the other spoken lines of old were knife wetted yet? And boiled azuki beans done yet. The kitchen utensil apparently signified the instrument to peel the blisters, and it was customary to have azuki gruel on the Little New Year. Oh, right, even though this is technically a New Year's Eve tradition now, it wasn't always that way. It used to be practiced on the so-called Little New Year, which is the first full moon night of the year. It also happens to be the 15th day of the first lunar calendrical year, which is not the same thing as January 15th. It usually falls around mid-February, exactly 2 weeks after the Chinese New Year. Now traditionally, the Namahage have worn painted wooden masks, sometimes made of wood bark and primarily painted red. But in recent years they've been manufactured using bamboo strainers as frames, cardboard material, or flattened metal canisters. And the Namahage may travel, like I said, in pairs, so one with a red painted mask, one with a blue painted mask, in the hamlet of Yumoto, which is incorporated into the city of Oga. Just, an example. So the character's definitive origins remain buried in the pages of ancient history, but there's a few versions of the legend that vary according to region. An Akita legend has developed regarding the origins of, the Namahage, that Emperor Wu of Han from China came to Japan, bringing 5 demonic Oni to the Oga area, and the Oni established quarters in the 2 local high peaks, Honzan and Shinzan. These Oni stole crops and young women from Oga's villages. The citizens of the village wagered the demons that if they could build a flight of stone steps, 1,000 steps in all, from the village to the 5 shrine halls all in one night, then the villagers would supply them with a young woman every year. But if they failed the task, they would have to leave. So just as the ogres were about to complete the work, a villager mimicked the cry of a rooster, and the ogres departed, believing they had failed. The most famous of these festivals takes place in northern Honshu. Besides scaring the lives out of young folks, the Namahages also protect against disasters and illnesses. Some people even believe they bring good luck in the form of plentiful food and good harvests. Oh, how do parents welcome them, by the way? As honored guests who receive mochi and sake. I wish! I dress up as a demon half the year. Can I just show up and hang out and get some mochi, please? Number 4, Stonehaven Fireballs. So this is one of the most dramatic of Scotland's many New Year's Eve festivals. At least 12,000 spectators line the route of the event, and the partying goes well on into the early morning, which is too late for me. At the stroke of midnight on December 31st in the North Sea coastal town of Stonehaven, at least 45 strong Scots, most in kilts, light up the high street by whirling balls of flame and sending showers of sparks into the watching crowd. Now Stonehaven was once a small fishing village on the coast, about 15 miles from Aberdeen. The festival arose from a local 19th century ritual practiced by the fishermen of the original village of Old Stonehaven. You gotta make sure to get it right. While records are spotty, it's likely that the use of purifying flame to ward off evil spirits and endow the fishing fleet with luck has pre-Christian origins. Now at the time, only those born in the burg of Stonehaven could participate. In the 1960s, when the festival began to decline, the rules changed. And today, anybody who's lived there for a period of time and who has served as a fireball marshal for at least one festival can apply to be, part of the festivities. Unlike the Allendale Tar Brawl in England, which is a male-only affair, quite a few women march with the Stonehaven Festival swingers. In some years, women are the only ones wearing trousers. Now, sidebar, because tar barrel or tar barreling is also a terrifying concept, and hard to say 5 times fast. It's an ancient tradition predating Guy Fawkes, where folks light barrels of tar on fire and roll them down the streets. Now the village of Ottery St. Mary is the exception to this tradition, where barrels aren't rolled, but carried above the head, all while lit on fire. Audrey St. Mary decided rolling and kicking lighted tar barrels throughout the streets was a little tame, and carrying them above their head was just more appealing. Mind-boggling, I know. Anyway, back to the fireballs, because why not? Festivities get underway with street entertainment at around 11, with a band of pipers followed by some very wild drumming. But just before midnight, a lone piper leads the fireball swingers to the town center to the familiar strains of Scotland the Brave. The watching crowd counts down the last few seconds before the new year, and then to the accompaniment of wild cheering, the Stonehaven Fireball swingers raise their flaming balls, attach to long wire handles, and begin to swing them over and around their heads. Swinging their fireballs all the while, the marchers, led by the piper, make their way through the center of the town from the market cross to the harbor, and when they tire of swinging them, the marchers throw them into the sea. When the last fireball arcs across the sky and into the sea, the spectacle ends with a huge fireworks display. Now today, the fireball swingers make their own fireballs by filling wire baskets with a mixture of flammable materials. Participants keep their recipe secret, but the object is to create a fireball that's going to stay very lit and burn very brightly for a very long time. Honestly, all that sounds really dangerous to me, and then having fireworks afterwards? That just a little risky. And that's coming from somebody who once stored my lighter fluid next to my hairspray. Long story. Number 3, burning effigies and scarecrows. While I understand the sentiment of wanting to start the new year fresh, and burning can be cleansing, I worry about how many folks are starting the new year with smoke inhalation. Even though fireworks are the most popular option for New Year's Eve festivities, folks in Ecuador celebrate Año Viejo by burning scarecrows and other effigies of pop stars, politicians, and notable figures from the past year. The term means old year, and the effigies represent the misfortunes of the past year. They are set on fire at midnight and must be burned completely, or else it's believed that any bad situations that plagued you during the previous year will return. Before I forget, let the record show I'm personally anti-fireworks. I'm normally exhausted from work on New Year's Eve, and after 10 minutes of noise at midnight, I tend to bitterly vent from the warmth of my bed. So back to these folks. They craft these effigies from old clothes stuffed with sawdust and newspapers. Then they place masks on the stuffed figures, rendering them recognizable. An additional custom is to burn the effigy in the street and jump over it as it burns, once for each month of the year to bring good luck. The fire can get pretty big as it burns, and the dummies that have firecrackers stuffed inside them are a special challenge. No thank you. Once the fires have been lit, those out on the street past midnight will be accosted by viudas, or widows, of the smoldering remains, They're actually men dressed in drag who dance in the street and beg for money to pay for the funerals of their recently cremated husbands. Honestly, that part sounds fun, but jumping over a burning fire with firecrackers? Yeah, no thanks, I'm injury prone enough as it is. Number 2, sleeping in graveyards. Now this sounds like a tradition I can get behind. The practice is believed to have started in 1995 in the city of Telca, 158 miles south of the capital of Santiago. One family climbed into the cemetery on New Year's Eve to be beside the grave of their father who had recently passed away. Rather than enforce the law, local authorities have taken the pragmatic view that it is a practice that should be encouraged rather than stopped. So nowadays, cemetery gates remain open, with families commemorating their deceased members in various ways. It is believed that their dead loved ones come back to the graveyard to celebrate the year's end. So the townspeople join the party by making fires, bringing meals, decorating the graves, and setting up their beds among the dead when they decide to, call it a night. It is not a case of going home when finished either, as many will then sleep by the graveside until daylight in temperatures that are not uncomfortable, due to it being summer in the southern hemisphere. Those that undertake this Chilean New Year's Eve tradition believe it is a key part of the bereavement process. They feel it can bring luck in the new year and also helps the souls of the deceased, making them at peace knowing they have been visited at this special time. It brings a sense of reunification with their loved ones and helps rekindle the notion that life is valuable and needs to be enjoyed. It is estimated nowadays that 5,000 families undertake this tradition, in a city of around 200,000 inhabitants. Hey, look, I lost a member of my family this year, and honestly, if I could, I'd love to curl up and enjoy some wine with my grandma on New Year's Eve. So, I'm all for it. Number 1, talking animals. So this is normally the stuff of fairy tales and animated movies, right? Well, not in Romania. In this fun little tradition, people lend an ear on New Year's Eve to catch the elusive chit-chat of our furry and feathery friends. Now I know what you're thinking. Dr. Dolittle would be right at home here. But let's just take a second. Let's dig into this more. The belief goes that if you're fortunate enough not to hear the animals speaking on the brink of the new year, luck is destined to be your greatest companion in the coming months. So that once again, you do not want to hear your animal talking. That's the bad luck. But why is there an expectation that animals are going to start talking like characters in a Disney movie? Is it a nod to some ancient enchanted forest trope? Or perhaps a belief in the mystical energies aligning during this transition to a new year? Well, in folklore, animals are often assigned symbolic meanings. Wolves might represent strength, owls wisdom, and cats, well, they usually bring forth images of internet memes. But in this Romanian tradition, it's not just about the symbolism. It's about expecting these creatures to literally spill the beans. Or I guess the birdseed. Look, I'm sure we can all picture it. Villagers huddled around, we're listening, we're waiting. Come on, goose, give me some New Year's Eve wisdom. This is actually pretty common among farmers, specifically. They're listening to, their cows, their horses, We're waiting for the punchline of the world's weirdest joke. Hopefully you get nothing. But hey, what if you're genuinely convinced that your neighbor's cat has the secrets to a prosperous year hidden in its meows? What if you're not keen on risking good fortune by deliberately avoiding the linguistic talents of your household pets? Hey look, in Romania this tradition is no laughing matter. It's a blend of superstition, folklore, and perhaps a dash of whimsy. You might scoff at the idea, but traditions have a peculiar way of weaving themselves into the fabric of culture, often outlasting skeptics and rationalists. We should know better than to be skeptics around here. And that brings us to the end of our time, which means it's time for me to curl up with some cherry cola, a poutine, and maybe some leftover molasses cookies, and watch a TV countdown. I hope you're all enjoying a lovely New Year's Eve, and thank you for spending at least part of it with us here at Top 5 Scary Videos. If you could help us out tonight by giving this video a like, subscribing if you aren't already, hit the bell to make sure you never miss a video, it would be greatly appreciated. See you next year, you lovely spooky people.